Thanks for joining me again. Now, following on from the scales that I did yesterday, which was bonded onto the liners, they're now at this stage, so I'll be squaring those off, taking the excess liner off. I'm also checking it is bonded correctly. I've also got something I've been looking forward to doing over the last few days, because it's actually not been raining, and in this section of the garage it's not advantageous to do it in the rain. I've got this little piece of wood here, okay, that has been sawn up in order to get it in the car. It did actually be, just imagine something the length of a door by about that big. I've had it cut into 4 in order to get it back home. But the difference in the way that it's sawn through the tree, if I go up to camera, you either get nice grain, or when it was nearing the edge you were getting sport. But if you cut it a certain way, you get lacewood or a snakewood effect. So I will be using my circular saw to go in through these pieces of wood in order to get the best effect that I can, and then those sections then go in the airing cupboard, and I'll see them again in about 10 months. So this is future stuff, okay? One piece I can actually bring forward a little bit for one customer, as long as it doesn't split, because if you force it you'll end up with the stuff all shakes and twisted. So that's the project for today, and then I can move on forward. We're trying to get maybe 1 or 2 of those scales onto another jackal. The other jackal I've actually moved on, so I sort of roughed out the micarta, but for the time being I'll be going onto the saw and hooking up this piece of wood. I'll see you in a bit. sectioned up. Now what I've got to do is cut them into scale sizes. Some interesting bits for ferro rods, or maybe a Merlin if I can get it out. So I'm going back through all the pieces of wood now and getting the yield out for what knife handles are going to be. Ooh. Okay, yeah, it's just on 5. Yeah, it's just on 5 o'clock at night, and I've been on and off most of the afternoon on the saw. I've got through maybe a third of the lengths that I've pushed through the saw. Now the saw is actually it's a challenge to use because it's only a little Screwfix one. It's not like the beast I used to have at school. And being that I worked in the school for 11 years, I'm pretty good with a table saw. It's one of the long-standing skills that I've got as being a wood machinist. You know, I can operate planers and saws. So what I've tried to do is, in the way that I make knives, is be able to utilise cheap and cheerful versions of what I used to have a Rolls Royce of. So I've got a cheap Screwfix table saw, and up in the corner I've got a Screwfix planer flexor, and that will allow me to just process timber myself as opposed to buying it in. I've got a bit more involvement. So if you imagine that door sized piece of wood, I met up with that months ago. I've known about that wood months ago. It was cut into 4, it's been drying. I walk past it every day, picked it up. Do you know what? Alright, that's ready now. Pick a couple of dry days in order to come in the garage to work on it. And you know, I've pushed that through the saw myself over and over and over again, checking the look of the grain and the way the medulla rays will fly about and move, and the way as you're going through the wood the grain will change. So sometimes I've had the grain go one way, sometimes I flip the piece I've got at the moment over 90 degrees and go through again. I've still got the grain going lengthways for strength, but you know, once it's on, the thing is that either which way that it is on there, I'm getting the best character or the most even look that I can as I'm processing the wood. I've got some fabulous pieces here. I mean, that there has got some really tight, beautiful, you can see that, it's like a sort of redwood sort of ish look, very light tiki sort of look to it. Whereas on the top, as the scales get contoured, you'll end up with a little bit of sort of lacewood effect there. I mean, right up to some scary, there's going to be some beautiful Golocks coming out in a few months' time, sort of Golock berserkers. So keep your eyes out for that. What I'm hoping to do is get to the point where I can use all these pieces of wood that I've been working through over the years. They're coming to the fore now because I've allowed them to dry. Again, there, this one's matched, so the piece of wood went through, and I've caught those 2 planks and put those 2 planks through the saw that way, so they're actually only a kerf apart in terms of the saw blade width has gone through. Golock. I keep the sizes standard, so I've got right down from the Kellen at 80 by 20. I got a Merlin at 110 by 33. The Westmucks are 115 by 40, and then the stainless are 140 by 40, and I go straight up then from all the other ones. Jackals, Golocks, Berserkers, Marauders, they're all sort of standard one size 150 by 50. So that if I ever end up with pieces of someone says oak flooring, if you can cut me 150s by 50s, I can get all sizes out. You know, it's just an easy standard size to remember and ease and set up on the saw. But you know, it's like there's some nice tight grain there with a dash of sport, and you know, I pick them up and I'll know where it's from. Is the thing. I remember where I bought that huge lump of wood. These now will come in the house in a tray, go in the airing cupboard to stay warmish, gradually drying out until I come to pick them up the day before they end up with the stabilisation, and then at that point they're in a toaster oven overnight just to finish them off. But at the moment now it's pretty much as dry as it will go in a household environment. I shall label them up with a little piece of pencil, so there's a load of admin yet for all this lot. That's a lot of scales. That's really light, really dry. As I say, I've processed that, I've sawn that up, so you know it's got a bit more of me in it than buying them in, but I still got the final drying, I've still got the stabilisation, the finishing off of that, and then it goes on a liner. So a fair amount of work to do. So now it's sort of 5 o'clock. All those will go in a tray, going home, and then tomorrow, knowing what it was that I worked with yesterday, I'll write on it London Plane, and I'll crack on with the next batch of these. There was one jackal I had to play with last night, so I moved it on for a quarter of an hour, so I sort of squared them off. And in the next couple of days, once I've got this out of the way, it'll be the handles on jackals as the Danelaws catch up. Now the Danelaws I've got to this sort of stage. So surface finished, coated at WD-40, and then I'll degrease it, and then I'll black marker pen like the whole flat of it, and then scribe through with I use an old carbide drip bit, and I'll grind out the actual profiles of them, finish off around the edges, so I've got to mess about with that again, especially that little section there. You don't want to deal with that once, and then it'll be beveling. Loads of work. So thanks for joining me again. A little bit of a clue as to just how much of me goes into just getting the scales. I haven't yet really brought in many scales from overseas, sort of koas and you know, sort of exotics. At the moment I seem to be finding more than enough English hardwood to satisfy my sort of Saxon, Wessex, King Alfredy mindset, because maybe blades are sort of English, and at the moment I haven't really, you know, apart from the odd bit of Paduke, which I've had lying around, which I like working with, and African Blackwood, I seem to be doing quite well putting English stuff on, or British Isle stuff, so yeah, it keeps in with the Wessex feel, I dare say. So thanks for joining me again. You can see what I'm up to here, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow on the next sort of saying hi and how I'm doing on with the work I got in the house. Catch you later.